Husband always works late. Wife looks closer at clothes. She felt a sense of satisfaction as she completed the folding. All the clothes were in a neat row on the bed. Then she noticed something odd. She snatched up the shirt and inspected it carefully, and it all hit her like a ton of bricks. She now knew why her husband was always coming home late, and she immediately pulled out her phone. Jonna Miller lived with her husband David in Leesburg, Indiana. They had not been married for long, and their marriage had started well enough, but soon after, David started to arrive home from work later and later. Jonna noticed the change in him and started to grow worried. Day after day, she would wonder if he was still happy with his family, and her insecurities grew. Then one day, when she least expected it, she found her answer. David and Jonna had started dating in 2012, and just a year later they got engaged over Thanksgiving dinner. And the Millers had a lot to celebrate that year. Jonna was 6 months pregnant with their baby girl. Jonna gave birth to Delaney in 2014, and then another year later, the couple decided to finally tie the knot. Little did Jonna know that married life wasn't all it was cracked up to be. Jonna had grown up in the town of Indiana, and she joked that she spent most of her time telling bad jokes and creating awkward situations. This wry humor early on prepared her perfectly for what she loved to do in her adult life, blogging in her uniquely sarcastic voice. She maintains her blog, Real Blunt Blonde, to the delight of thousands of readers. But one day she shared her revelation about her husband, to the astonishment of her followers. In stark contrast, her husband's childhood was very different from Jonna's life of frivolity. David grew up in an Amish community where simple living and a distrust of modern technology is the Swiss-German religious sect hallmark. Jonna is amused by her husband's quirks and has a whole section dedicated to him called "You Can Take a Man Out of the Amish, But..." Jonna also remarked that David has become well adjusted to his new English lifestyle. David works at a nearby RV dealership and the hours were taxing. David often arrived home from work late into the night. Jonna is a stay-at-home mom, but she still finds the time to maintain her online presence and admits in her blog that her husband's absence often makes her feel isolated and insecure. In 2015, after a particularly rough day, Jonna took to her blog as an outlet for her feelings. "I'm married to a hard-working man, and I would be lying if I said that it didn't take a toll on me. Sometimes he will come home after a long day at work, and I'll be waiting for him to walk in the door, so I can yell, 'You promised me you would be home at 5,' as if he would rather be working than spending time with me and our daughter. I'm putting him in a lose-lose situation. He literally can't win. If he doesn't work late, he won't get the new furniture set I have to have. If he does work later, he comes home to a nagging wife who is desperate for his attention." She continued, "I'm so selfish in our marriage, and I know that, but every once in a while, I'll have my little aha moment that gives me a sense of understanding." But Jonna was about to get a dose of reality. One Wednesday, when David didn't come home by the time he said he would, Jonna placed his dinner in the fridge and slammed the door in anger. She was really going to let him have it this time. Then she heard the dryer finish its cycle and started to fold the warm clothes. It soothed her, but all the while she was thinking, why does he not want to spend time with me? Just then she noticed something about David's clothes, and the truth left her floored. She had folded the laundry and separated the clothes into 2 piles, hers and David's. That's when she saw it and wondered why she had never noticed it before. The truth about David had been staring her in the face the whole time. She looked from one pile to another, and his clothes were very different from hers, and the revelation changed the way she viewed her entire marriage. Jonna shared her life-changing revelation with her readers on her blog, asking herself, why did my clothes look so vibrant, clean, and new? His were dingy, stained, and torn. Then it all clicked and finally made sense for Joanna. David worked so hard every day to provide her with all the things she wanted, and he had to work the harrowing hours just to manage her demands. This man provided more than I deserve. If I tell him I want something, very seldom will he tell me no, she explained. Then Jonna felt another emotion hit her like a tidal wave. Her husband was making do with his old and worn clothes while he made sure she always had new and expensive ones. The guilt racked through her and she started to cry. I get spoiled with the fruits of his labor and he's okay with a pair of torn boxer briefs. I was acting as if he was out partying with his friends, but his laundry told a completely different story. And the part that brought her to tears was that David never complained or expressed any resentment toward her. His heart is full when he walks in through the door and our daughter runs for him excitedly yelling "Dada." After Jana's life-changing realization, she resolved to strive to become a better partner for David. Every time he would arrive home late from work, instead of getting angry, she would remind herself of the sacrifices he was making for his family. And she encourages her readers to think twice before resorting to feelings of anger towards their hard-working husbands. "Sure, I miss him and want to spend time with him throughout the week," she wrote, "but I have realized he is offering me the most beautiful form of love there is. He works so his wife and daughter don't go without, even though there are times I'm sure he does." Jana's experience and random observation led her to admit that her feelings of loneliness and resentment towards her husband were completely unfounded. She had some good advice for her readers too. If you have a hard-working man in your life and you can't comprehend how much he loves you, do his laundry. Jana's post on her blog struck a chord with many of her readers, and the truth hit home for one commenter in particular. "This is an amazing reminder. I used to stay home with our daughters when they were little, and I used to feel horrible doing the same thing. This is an awesome perspective to carry." Jana continues to maintain her blog even though she is kept thoroughly busy by parenthood. Her blog, Real Blunt Blonde, has many witty and sometimes hilarious posts about family life. Many of Jana's posts also discuss David's Amish background, and these have proved to be a huge hit with her readers as interest in the culture grows. "I'm not Amish, but my husband is just one of Jana's popular blog spots. She discusses her relationship with David and describes what happened when she met his parents. It also reflects on the naive misconceptions she had before getting to know the Amish better. And Jana constantly takes jabs at herself with her wry humor. Jana also writes extensively about motherhood, and she shares her insights into parenting from her first-hand experiences with Delaney. Jana battled with what she refers to as the terrible twos in 2016 and was exasperated by her rebellious daughter. Jana titled this piece, "I graduated at the University of Toddlertown and majored in defeat," and describes the trying time in hilarious and painful detail.